We're about to go for a ride.
I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country.
It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. Look, those terms flew the coop a long time ago, and everybody knows it.
Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
While Warren is standing up for a fairer tax code, Trump wants to cut taxes.
The thing about Hillary Clinton is, I imagine to be a very bright woman without the courage of her convictions, because I'm not even sure what they are.
Now, I can't tell you which of these two parties is going to win. That's in God's hands. Or whatever other, let's call them wild cards, might arise, or little surprises that might be lurking in the dark midst.
We have made so many bad deals during the last... So she's got experience, that I agree, but it's bad experience.
But what I can do is show you some lightning rounds of fascinating data and coincidences.
And I just left Detroit, and I just left Philadelphia, and you've seen me, I've been all over the place. You decided to stay home, and that's okay.
That I'm going to drop right into the palm of your hands.
I've been all over, and I've met some of the greatest people I'll ever meet within these communities, and they are very, very upset with what their politicians have told them and what their politicians have done.
We certainly don't have now. We have the phony unemployment rate of 5% when the number's probably into the 20s.
Senator Clinton, this is the same person who has taken more money from lobbyists than any other candidate, Democratic or Republican, taking more money from drug company lobbyists and insurance company lobbyists.
All my taxes are going down. Big league for the middle class, big league for business. And I think ultimately everyone's going to do better because our businesses are going to generate a lot more money. We're going to really have a vital economy again.
I'm telling you right now, we're going to write fairer rules for the middle class, and we are going to raise taxes on the middle class.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a real person doesn't exist underneath there. I don't know.
Senator Warren. Did you talk about vice presidential possibility?
Yes. It's true. We have a live one.
This is Senator Warren.
You guys have got to try the cold chai.
As hard for me to admit as this is, that is in fact a United States presidential candidate.
The Spirit says when the financial harvest begins, so shall it parallel in the spiritual for America. The Spirit of God says in this next election they will spend billions to keep this president in. It will be like flushing their money down the toilet. Let them waste their money, for it comes from and is being used by evil forces at work.
Much lower individual taxes, much lower business taxes. It's a pretty much no-brainer to anyone in business, from a small businessman like me to someone like you. Let people keep more of what they want. They go out, they spend it. It circulates in the economy. It creates a real virtuous cycle rather than the Fed printing up phantom money and taxing companies to death.
The first time that I ever went to that council was in the year 2008. He looked at the file and he said, Obama will be elected president. I said, sir, it cannot be. Then I was told, now go and tell the people. This was 1 week before the election.
Welcome to the prophecy of Trump.
For this next president will be a man of his word. When he speaks, the world will listen and know that there is something greater in him than all the others before him.
The next president of the United States will find in my government a partner to build a route to modernize, to have a more efficient route for employment that is better paid in both countries.
This man's word is his bond, and the world and America will know this, and the enemy will fear this, for this man will be fearless.
Every year, weapons and dollars enter Mexico illegally from the north that strengthen drug cartels and other criminal organizations that generate danger in Mexico.
Toward achieving this shared objective, and it will be shared,
of safety for all citizens is paramount to both the United States and to Mexico.
And the Donald Trump perhaps that you see is the real guy. He doesn't act. Politicians get up there and act.
We were misled that there were supposedly protests and then something sprang out of that, an assault sprang out of that. And that was easily ascertained that was not the fact. And the American people could have known that within days, and they didn't know that.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
But they think it's $2.5 trillion. I think it's going to be much more than that. So this money would pour into the United States as soon as we do this.
What about at zero? Why wouldn't you make it 0% then?
Well, you could make it 0, and I was actually thinking about doing that. It's such a good thing, you know.
Well, I don't know why that's funny. I mean, did you have any in-person briefings? I don't find it funny at all.
I'm sorry, a little note of levity at 7:15.
Well, I mean, the reason I say it's not funny is because it went well into the night when our folks on the ground were still in danger. So I don't think it's funny to ask you if you were alone the whole night.
I think people are reacting to his brazen, unapologetic, just sort of unedited, it's